Lockdown is easing and a lot of things are opening up this week, so I thought I should as well. Well, I want to talk about opening up and whether it's good to constantly discuss your feelings and what's going on internally and spend every social moment of your life trying to make others understand your suffering. Because I'm starting to question it in myself whether it's actually helpful. Obviously, I get the value of talking about like talking to someone when you're struggling, and a lot of people find it really difficult and they feel trapped because of that. But then there's another set of people that find it far too easy, and I'm one of them. I guess it's a skill in a way, like anything. Like some people are good at maths, some people aren't. Some people have faced a major trauma in their life and they feel too ashamed to talk about it, and that can be massively damaging. And some people burn their toast in the morning and then ring up 15 different people to ask them if they're a failure with no intrinsic worth. I'm in that latter category. And for that first group of people, they do need to hear that classic message of, if you're struggling, talk to someone. But maybe that second group need to hear, if you're struggling, could you try keep it to yourself, please? For once, for one time, could you just wait it out and see what happens? Because I think it's a bit boring to be that person as well that's always moaning. Like, you know, Michael Owen, he's boring as fuck, man. Apparently he doesn't read books and he's only ever watched 8 films. And that's because all he cares about is football. Which is good because he was a footballer. But I also think that makes him kind of one-dimensional. And I think I can be a bit like that with mental health. Especially if anyone's ever read my blog on air at Rushton.com. New blogs every Wednesday. Join the mailing list. Like, I write about feeling anxious and depressed quite a lot. That's like my version of constantly doing keepy uppies. What are you doing today, Eric? I reckon I'll spend a good few hours reflecting on my childhood and the complex ways in which it's negatively affected the person I am today. And then I'll call up a mate and I'll talk to them about it. And I guess the issue is that I reckon when I talk about how sad I am, I just wind myself up even more. I just think of new reasons to be depressed. The conversations I have with friends about mental health just turn into brainstorming sessions to come up with more reasons to hate my life. I'll be like, oh shit, yeah, my stepdad. He was quite emotionally abusive towards my mum if I look back on it. Add that to the spider diagram, we can work with that. We'll park that for now, I'll work on that idea later. And like I said, I'll call up a bunch of people about the same problem, one by one. It's almost like I'm sharpening my set, I'm honing it. When I get dumped, I'm excited because I know I'm going to ring like 10 people. And by the last person I speak to, I'm going to have that tale of woe so damn polished. And then I feel like I probably shouldn't use my friends as therapists. You wouldn't do that with physical health. Oh, Pete, can you come over, mate? I'm having a bit of a rough one. I'm going to need you to perform major heart surgery on me. It's a professional job. Leave it to the professionals. Although even that can be a bit shit. I've had stuff like counselling before. I guess it depends on the professional you get. We maybe hold the word professional in too high regard. It just means they do it for a living. It doesn't mean they're good at it. Danny Dyer is a professional actor. Being a professional therapist, it just means they've completed the training without committing a crime yet. I'd like to take what I said about Danny Dyer back if possible. He's good at what he does. It was a cheap reference from a second-rate comic grasping for a punchline. Maybe I need to talk to someone about how I have to put others down to validate myself. Maybe you want to talk to someone that's somewhere in between your mate and a professional therapist. Like one of those undiscovered therapists that never quite made it to the big time. The mainstream never accepted them because their methods are too unconventional. But they've got a bit of a cult following. Because they are in fact a cult leader. Join a cult is what I'm saying. If you're struggling, join a cult. And if you're constantly going on at people about your depression, I'll worry about the impact on them. Especially if they're one of your friends. Like they might have their own stuff that they're going through emotionally that they've been bottling up, and now you're adding to that. But again, it's difficult to pitch the right balance. Going back to like mental health slogans, you can't have a slogan that says talk to someone, but bear in mind they might be going through their own emotional turmoil right now, and they might not be able to take on the burden of being friends with you. And I don't want to be difficult to be friends with. You know that Marilyn Monroe thing of, if you can't handle me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best. What the fuck is that? My worst is pushing people away who only want the best for me and accusing them of being bad friends when they've been nothing but supportive. My worst is terrible. I should work on improving my worst. I don't want accepting it to be a requirement of being friends with me. I'd maybe be a bit annoyed if they couldn't handle me at my middling state. I'll go along with, if you can't handle me at my average, you don't deserve me at my best. I can't always be on top form, but Expecting people to handle you at your worst takes the piss. I want to be more consistent as a person. I don't want to be like a Netflix series that varies wildly in quality. No, it gets good. You've just got to push through the initial phase of it being immensely unenjoyable and frustrating. Then you get into it. It just takes massive amounts of your time, and there probably won't be any payoff at the end. I don't know. I think it's about finding the middle ground, like, isn't it? It's all a balance. Open up too little, and then you're in danger of isolating yourself and leaving problems that can be fixed unaddressed. Open up too much and you get obsessed with your own suffering, and it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, and it's difficult to see life as anything but depressing. It is all about the middle ground. Aristotle said that, bringing some philosophy into it. He wasn't going on about this, but he said virtue like lay in between two extremes. Like courage is between cowardice on the one hand and rashness on the other. Generosity lies between stinginess and extravagance. I think we're advanced enough as a society to have that kind of nuance when it comes to opening up about your emotions. The virtue of being properly emotionally open lies between bottling up your emotions on the one hand and self-obsession on the other. And my message is that some people need to talk about their emotions for their own good, and some people need to shut the fuck up about their emotions for their own good. See you next time.